All right, we're going to talk about a catch and when a receiver has to survive the ground with the reception. Why don't you take a look at this play? I'm not going to say anything here. Watch what happens. And notice the ball comes out right there. Okay. Slow it down for you. So what do we have here? We have a reception. Player's upright, not close to the sideline. He gets pushed, and that collision with the ground results in him losing the ball. This is indeed a touchdown because he possessed it standing upright in the end zone. Basically, the ball is dead once we've determined possession is complete. I would prefer that this official goes up really quick on this. Now, if this guy's bobbling that ball and he loses it, now you've got to, wipe that off. So when does a receiver have to survive the ground? Well, if this play had been a little closer to the sideline, let's say he makes the catch right there and he's going out of bounds, he has to survive that impact with the ground, with possession. And the same's true on the sideline or the end line. Okay? So, possession inbounds and then getting pushed out of bounds and then dropping the ball, that's a catch. Possession inbounds but not standing upright and you're going out of bounds, you've got to survive the ground. All right, let's move on. Okay, this is an interesting play. It's a broken play, and a lot happens here. We have a couple of fouls. We have some very good zone coverage. We have some questionable mechanics. So let's take a look at this, see if we can learn from it. Okay, so what kind of formation is this? This is a balanced formation. We have two receivers on either side of the ball. So the head linesman has these two receivers. Back judge is going to take the inside guy. Line judge takes the widest receiver to his side. Now, the line judge, in my opinion, leaves too soon. He's off right now. So he's almost keeping pace with his key. Now watch. Here comes the back. And this is the line judge's key as well. And he is downfield now. He's going to get pinched, right? This key is going to go into the back judge's primary area. All right, so he's still going downfield. I'm not sure why. He finally stops. Now we got a broken play. And we've got the umpire looking at this action. This is great. This is good discipline. Looking for blindside blocks in this situation. He finally gets the ball off. And to that back. And now our line judge is way too far downfield for this. And he's going to be in the middle of this. So let's watch. Now the umpire is going to rule that contact right there is a face mask infraction. I think you're going to see from the other angle that it's not. But I understand why he thought he calls it. You'll see the head turn. But look, this guy's in a bad spot. Watch this defender right here come in and just take out a defender. Boom. And, good job by the back judge watching the zone 1 or zone 5 actually coverage and getting that foul. The line judge did not see it. Let's take a look at it from the end zone. Okay, we're going to watch this from the end zone. We don't see a whole lot here, so I'm going to speed this up and wait for the pass to get off and that contact at the face mask. So you can see there's our umpire right here. He's watching the receiver and watch the contact. It's hands to the helmet, and it causes his head to turn, but it's not a face mask. Again, I know why it was called, but that's a missed call. All right, so now we're going to look at our targeting call. This is a comment from the back judge. I don't think there's any doubt that this is targeting. Okay, yeah, definitely leading with the crown. And remember, targeting is an act by any player who takes aim and initiates contact against an opponent above the shoulders with the helmet, the forearm, hands, fists, elbows, or shoulders. Doesn't matter. If any of those body parts listed contacts an opponent above the shoulders, it's targeting. All right, let's move on. Okay, throughout this season, I'm planning on focusing on 3 fouls: holding, DPI, and roughing the passer. And so of course I'll discuss other fouls, but I'm going to try to discuss those 3 a lot. So this is a holding. This is a play where a holding foul is called. And I want you to just watch it in real time. The umpire's going to rule number 54 held. Watch the play. Okay. Let's take a look at this and turn on the annotations. Now, these annotations, for the most part, come from this crew. They review their own film. And if you've got game film available and you're not reviewing your game film, you're doing yourself a disservice. This is how we get better. Okay. So, this is a comment from the crew itself. This action is ruled holding. It's hard to support. The nose guard is going to his right. The center just keeps him going in that direction. Great observation. So, one of the components of a holding foul is a material restriction. Okay? So, let's watch this in slow motion. Watch the nose guard. He's going to go to his right. And the center is just helping him. Now, as the play develops, now, of course, the nose guard wants to go the other way, but he's got that big old center pushing him away. Are there elements of a hold here? Are his hands, around the body? Yes, but the action doesn't provide a material restriction. Now, if that action right there is considered a material restriction, okay, but look where our runner is. He's right here. So, this does not have at this point, this action does not have a material impact on the play, which is another criteria for hold. We want it to have a material impact. We're going to see the umpire throw on this, and it's going to bring back a long gainer. Okay, so let's just work on refining our techniques, right, guys? All right, moving on. Okay, same crew, same game, same foul. Keep an eye on the right guard here. Watch the action. We got a flag. Okay, let's take a look at the difference in this foul versus the one we previously looked at. Now we're going to see the right guard come up and grab the jersey inside the shoulders of number 87 there. This is a normal technique, and right now he's beating him. And this is no foul. But right there, as he starts to go for the runner, there's the restriction right there. You see the hand right here. Okay? That is the material restriction, and it does have a material impact on the play. So, good foul, good call, good job. Moving on. Okay, I reviewed this game at the request of the white team's coach. They were complaining that they thought their quarterback was getting roughed, and I just looked at a few plays that he mentioned. I'm just going to let this run in real time, see what you think. Now, my initial thought was this could be roughing. The ball's away, he gets driven down, and I actually showed this to Steve Coover, and Steve said, "No, Mark, look, watch the contact. This is the kind of contact we want. He's lowering his target. The head is out of the tackle. It's a nice wrap. That's a legal play. Yeah, he goes to the ground pretty hard, but that's legal." Now, let's take a look at something else that somebody pointed out to me. I didn't see this at first. Watch these two white players. This guy and this guy. Look, come on. There we go. Okay, watch this. So watch 63 and 52. Those are both takedown holds. Did you see that? Watch it again. center, and the right tackle. Right to the ground. That is a takedown, my friends. We should have 2 flags. One should be coming from the umpire. The other one should be coming from the flank official on that right-hand side. Okay, and there's one more thing that caught my eye on this play. I'm looking at this quarterback, and I'm looking at his pants, and I'm like, those pants do not look long enough to me. And as he turns, yes, indeedy, look what we've got. Exposed knees. Okay, let's not forget about our requirements from last year for emphasizing legal equipment legally worn. Okay, this guy should be sent off the field for the next play and replaced until he gets this fixed. All right, let's move on. Okay, guys, put your rules caps on because it's quiz time. Watch this play. Tell me what you got. Okay, so let's watch it again. We've got, got to watch the player come on. We've got a blocked punt in the end zone, and the ball comes to rest inside the end zone, right there. And you'll notice that nobody reacts to it initially. They're just kind of all standing around. Here comes this guy. He's going to try to dive on it. He knows the rules, and he knocks it out of the end zone. You see the ball right there. Okay, so what do we got? Well, it's one of 2 things, right? It's a safety or it's a touchback. What do we got? Take a minute, pause, think about this, and then restart it, and we'll talk about it. Alright guys, so this is going to get a little lengthy. This is a rule, or there's actually several rules involved in this play that I've been officiating this, I think, like my 14th year. I've just struggled with the concept of force and when it's applied and so on. And I always have to reread the definitions. And so, and you also have to know the definition of a safety, which is a little complicated. There's a bunch of them. Look at 852, and you'll see 3 different definitions of a safety. So let's take a look at the one I think that matters here. Pardon me for reading this, but it's important. It is a safety when a player who is either in the field of play or in his end zone, which we have here in the case of the kicker, forces a loose ball from the field of play to or across his goal line by his kick. Now, this ball never passed the goal line, right? But this still applies. By his kick, pass, fumble, snap, or by a new force to a grounded loose ball, which is what we have here, a grounded loose ball, with his muff or bat, which is what B, the white players, provided the ball becomes dead there in his team's possession, which we don't have, or the ball is out of bounds when it becomes dead. That's the one that applies, on or behind the goal line. That's what we have here. So, reading this strictly, this rule, we'd say, well, the B player muffed the ball across the end line. This must be a touchback. Well, let's take a look at the definition of force. Okay, the definition of force is found in Rule 2, Section 13. Force is the result of energy exerted by a player which provides movement of the ball. So far, so good, right? The term force is used only in connection with the goal line and in only one direction, i.e. from the field of play into the end zone. So, that's the key here. Force is only a concern when we're going from the field of play into the end zone. Since this ball never left the end zone, force can't be considered a factor. The kicker's kick is what resulted in the ball going out of bounds through the back of the end zone, and this is indeed a safety. And this is not an easy one to remember. Watch the referee in this. Touchback, touchback, touchback. Oh, wait a minute. That's a safety. So even it took him a minute to process this. So if you don't understand this, look at the definition. If you have a reading guide, read George Dimitrio's explanation of this. It's excellent. And just going to have to learn this rule. All right. Sorry for the long-windedness. Let's move on. All right, we're going to spend some time talking about fair catch signals and specifically invalid fair catch signals. Now, I am speaking directly to Orange County and CIF officials in this clip. If you're out of the state, you can listen to this and take it for what it's worth. Up until this point, we were treating invalid fair catch signals as simply valid fair catch signals without penalty. So whenever an invalid fair catch signal was given, we would simply kill the play when the ball either became dead or was possessed, and move on from there. We were not throwing flags for an invalid fair catch. Well, that's changing under certain specific circumstances. All right, so now let's talk about when we are going to enforce the penalty for an invalid fair catch signal. The first instance is when an invalid fair catch signal is given and the ball is advanced by the offending player. In other words, the receiver that caught the ball gave the invalid fair catch signal. That one's pretty easy. It's very similar to what we do when they give a valid fair catch signal and then advance. We kill it and enforce a 5-yard delay of game, right? In this case, we're just going to enforce an invalid fair catch signal. Same penalty, 5 yards. Next one is when an invalid fair catch signal is given and the ball is advanced by another player. And that's a little more complicated, and we're going to take a look at a play like that here real soon. Now, when an invalid fair catch signal is given, the spot of the foul may be the enforcement spot. Okay, so in some cases, the invalid fair catch signal could be given behind the end of the kick. And again, we're going to see an example of that. So, back judges, you need to know where that invalid fair catch signal was given. I would recommend a beanbag dropped on the spot. And then later we can drop a penalty flag if we decide to enforce a penalty. When are we not going to enforce the invalid fair catch signal foul? When an invalid fair catch signal is given and the ball is down by K. So we have an invalid fair catch, but nobody from R touches the ball and K downs the ball. We're just going to put the ball in play from there. No penalty. When an invalid fair catch signal is given and the ball becomes dead with no touch by R or K. So that would be a ball going out of bounds, a touchback. Again, no foul enforcement on that. Just really no advantage gain, right? And lastly, when an invalid fair catch signal is given and K catches the ball and stops like they're supposed to, like he thought he gave a valid fair catch signal, all right, or whatever it might be, they don't try to advance. We are not going to penalize them. All right, let's take a look at a couple of plays that illustrate this. Now, the first thing you're going to notice is that the punter here is down when he receives the snap. Right there, he is down. We blew this one. We didn't get it, so the play continues. And now you're going to see what I mean by an invalid fair catch signal. That motion by the receiver, that poison, get away, the arms, the baseball safe signal, that is an invalid fair catch signal. Let's take a look at this from the end zone. You get a much better view of what happens here. Number one is the player that gives the signal. So he is standing at about the 22, 23 yard line. So back judges, if you see that, okay, right there, that's the spot of the foul. That is about the 18 yard line. Now, you don't know at this point whether this is we're going to enforce this foul. So again, this is where I would put the beanbag. But in this case, Watch where the ball ends up being received. Right there. Okay, so we're right on the 40. So then that's the K40. So we've got quite a difference in terms of yardage where the foul is going to be enforced. So again, this is why we want a beanbag or a penalty flag at the spot of the foul. And this is PSK enforcement. The spot of the foul is behind the basic spot, which is the end of the kick where the ball is possessed. So we've got this is a big penalty in this particular case. So we want to know where the foul occurred. And let's take a look at why this is an invalid fair catch signal. Let's look at the rules regarding fair catch signals. Turn on the annotations here. So the first rule we're going to discuss is Rule 657, which just simply says a receiver shall not give an invalid fair catch signal. Doesn't give us much more than that. Doesn't give us any more than that. Rule 2 defines what a valid fair catch signal is. So that's the hand straight up over the head, straight up, moving laterally side to side. And this signal can be given by any player on the receiving team. Only that player is afforded protection. This is the explanation that we get from the Reading Guide, and it's I'm not going to read it to you, but pause right now and take a look at this. And it basically says that any movement of the arms other than the valid fair catch signal is a foul. And finally, let's take a look at the case book. And this case right here, 657, situation B, is the impetus for this change. So let's just read this. During a scrimmage kick, R1 signals for a fair catch by. There's going to be 4 different ways he's going to signal. Extending and holding one arm above his head. So straight up with no lateral movement. Okay? That's not a valid fair catch signal. Partially extending and waving one hand in front of his face. So this is kind of that little limp wave that we sometimes see. And I think we're going to see an example of that in just a little bit here. C, fully extending and laterally waving both hands above his head or in front of the body, which is what our number 1 here did, without extending one hand at arm's length above his head. And D, extending and laterally waving one arm at full length above his head. That's legal. So ruling the signals in A, B, and C are invalid. D, the signal is valid. Giving an invalid signal is a foul, for which the penalty is enforced under the post-scrimmage kick provision. Okay, I'm going to show you one more example, and I wish this was a better piece of film. I didn't realize we were going to have to come up with examples of invalid fair catches, so this is the only one I have, so we're going to use it. It's not a great example in terms of clarity. There's no end zone view. This receiver right here is going to wave his left arm as he moves towards the sideline. I hope you can see it. It really took me a while to see this. Coaches were complaining about it. It's right there. And again, it's because he blends in with the field. But right there, you'll see a real quick wave, and it's not part of him keeping his balance. And okay, so if this back judge caught that, which he didn't, then he's going to beanbag right here as the receiver number 7 there starts to go forward. And actually, at this point, he does throw a beanbag. He could just as well throw a penalty flag right there. It's obvious that 7 is going forward with the reception after giving the invalid fair catch signal. So this is one we want to flag. All right, let's move on. So I want to emphasize again that this last few minutes have been strictly for Orange County, and I believe San Diego officials have been doing the same thing. If you are in another association and you've been enforcing your invalid fair catch fouls this way, good on you. Just disregard everything I'm saying, okay? So if I've wasted your time, I apologize. I guarantee that the next one won't waste your time. Speaking of time, it's time to end this thing. That'll do it for this episode of Plays of the Week. Hey guys, just a reminder, OCFOA is supporting the Jimmy V Foundation, and if you're outside the area and you'd like to show your support or show your appreciation for these videos, feel free to donate in any amount by clicking on the link in the comment section below. As I said before, we put ads on the videos. All the money raised from those ads is going to go to the Jimmy V Foundation. That's why I'm doing it. So I apologize for the annoying ads, but it is for a good cause. If you want to get notified when new videos are released, click on my picture in the top right corner and then click on the subscribe button on my YouTube channel. It's completely free, no cost. If you've missed any videos for the 2019 season, click on the playlist in the top left. This is Mark Andrews signing off.